Welcome, everybody, to the Wildrose Arcade Podcast. This is officially our most consistent stretch of recording, I think.
Wow!
Holy
Congratulations, us.
Every 2 months or so, like clockwork. Something like that.
Something.
So on our last episode, we tried to reinvent the wheel on how we're doing these podcasts. I wasn't in love with how it turned out, but I like the idea, so I'm going to change it up a little bit again. We're still going to have the waveforms and stuff like last time. I really didn't like that I rendered them black because you could barely see them.
Yeah.
You live and learn.
Yeah, live and learn. Most important thing is that you can hear us because it's a podcast.
Yeah.
But Holly and I actually have face cams this time, so we're going to see how that works out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. We're getting fancy with it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm staying in my pajamas, and you can all just stare at whatever picture I have.
I'm still in pajamas, just
You know.
It's just a face
down
cam,
below.
Nathan. So yeah, we're talking about... Well, I did not think at all about how this was going to go.
We're winging it.
Today we're talking about handhelds and where we think they're going to go in the future. Because it kind of seemed like the time. There's some rumors floating around. Nintendo's last pure handheld basically just got put out to pasture as the 3DS eShop closed.
Yeah.
Rippity dip.
So yeah, it seemed like the time to talk about, what's going to happen going forward.
The death of handheld gaming.
Actually, I think it's probably more of the rebirth of it.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil Tom. God.
Spoil the ending.
But as always, we're going to start with what everyone's been playing. Mm-hmm. And I was going to get the wheel up, and I didn't.
Haha. Now you gotta make an executive decision.
I'm not the only one who failed on getting shit ready.
Alright, well, just for that, Nathan, you're going first.
There you go. Cemented your fate, pal.
Yeah, well, what else is new? Alright, what have I been playing recently? Well, Wesley got me Crypt of the Necrodancer, and we gave that a shot last night. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, but the music's good.
I mean, yeah.
I'm basically running
That's a
around
given.
and dying while Wesley's just like, hey, I can do this. I'm like, okay, I'm getting killed by an armadillo.
I remember trying out the demo of whatever it was called, the Zelda spin-off, and I kind of want to go back to it because just jumping in, I found it really disorienting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
I like the idea and concept, but then I was kind of like, but how does it work? It almost seems like an idea that wouldn't work,
Yeah. There's actually something in there that made me think of Rob, because it's basically another
Armadillo?
mystery. Well, armadillo. But it's basically another mystery dungeon game. And it's funny because you can get little skins of the characters, and one of them is Sheeran.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm just like, oh, I'm playing as Sheeran.
But now he can dance.
Now I can dance.
like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was trying to hold that one back.
That's going to be our first t-shirt, Ed Sheeran the Wanderer.
Ed Sheeran.
Sheeran the Wanderer. Aside from
And he's
that,
holding whatever that item was, like a sandwich or whatever.
Sandwich.
Oh, it was a rice ball. What are you, four kids?
I guess so.
Yeah, really. It's a jelly donut.
Americanized. Aside from that, I started playing Sanctum 2 with my bud Pan as well. It's a fun game. I remember playing it with Connor ages ago. It's a blast. I like
You
it.
and me and Connor played it ages ago, and you guys abandoned me.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
because only one of us had a job at the time, and when I came home from work for one day, you guys maxed out your characters.
Yeah. Nothing of importance was
rude.
lost. It's fine. But I mean, hey, if you want to play it, I'm down. I love Sanctum. It amuses me because Wesley will sometimes ask me why I always watch the Coffee Stain devlogs for Satisfactory, even though I just can't get into that game. One time I just straight up told them it's because I'm waiting for them to finish up the game so they can get back to making Sanctum games. Because I just wanted more Sanctum.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, Satisfactory, I haven't played the last 2 updates, but it's really weird because I love Factorio and all these other games. Like, automation is like a thing, and it's kind of like a puzzle and how you set things up. But I just can't get into Satisfactory. Like, I don't know why. Every time I have, it's just kind of like, Everybody's like, it's a great game, and I'm sitting there like, I just want them to make more Sanctum because I like those games. Yeah, and and I started playing Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain because watching all of you guys play Metal Gear, Metal Gear Mobile Ops? It's like, no, I want to play Metal Gear.
Portable ops.
Portable ops.
Heathen.
You
Okay, whatever.
heathen. I mean, I've never played a single Metal Gear game, so there you go.
But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Amongst my usual games, but we don't need to talk about those.
Your
Yeah.
usual. Your usual daily grind.
Yep.
Alright, so because Holly was the next person to start talking, you're up next.
You're such a jerk. No,
This
just
is easy.
this is easy.
This is a great way to make decisions.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I just started playing Monster Hunter again because I haven't picked it up in a while because I finally got my own PC now, so hooray! So I don't have to borrow Tom's stuff anymore. So I started picking that up again, so I've only been playing it for like 2 days. And then before that, I started playing Okami again because I, for some reason at work, I was just kind of like wanting to listen to like some good music and stuff, but like the usual music I listened to just wasn't cutting it. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna, I'm here by myself because like I just work with my boss in the kitchen, right? And but I was by myself, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna play some of my nerd music, which is usually Zelda stuff. But like earlier in the week, I was like, I want to listen to some like relaxing Okami music, and then it just gave me the itch to like want to play it, and so I just loaded one of my save files and like just started right in the middle of the game. But I've played it a billion times, so that doesn't really matter to me anyway. So,
Yeah.
But yeah. Those are the only ones I've been playing recently, so yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell Tom's studiously avoiding saying anything. Now, what does
Well, then
that
it's
mean?
you because you're the next one that started talking.
Yeah. You talked.
Well, just to show you that I take complete authority, Tom is up next.
No consistency
He's the
anymore.
podcast master.
No, he's the podcast god.
Yeah.
I actually haven't been playing anything really.
Mass Effect? For the
Yeah,
billionth time. I mean,
couple
I'm one
weeks
to
ago.
talk. I'm one to talk.
a couple of weeks ago I was playing Mass Effect. I guess the most recent new thing I've been playing is the second Lord of the Rings game. I beat the first one. So far, I like the first one a lot better. Yeah, I don't know. I've mostly just been editing videos and watching Let's Plays for my general content that I partake in. So I haven't really been playing much. So I guess my answer is Mass Effect for the millionth time.
That's okay. Sometimes you just need your comfort food every now and then.
Someone's behind on their game quota.
I wouldn't be if games weren't like $100 now in Canada.
My god.
You get back in those game mines.
You mine that crypto, you millennial.
I'm
No,
glad
so
someone.
please.
I'm glad someone has basically the same answer as I did. So I really
Guys are
haven't-
crack-a-slacking.
Yeah, I really haven't been playing much new lately. Just kind of the usual games that I always play. I am about an hour into Ancient Domains of Mystery, because I bought that after we went to see Dungeons and Dragons. I had a real craving for a new RPG, and that's kind of like one of the major classic roguelikes. It's a bit of an adjustment right now because it's a lot slower than Brogue, which is what I usually play.
It's slower than Brogue?
Oh yeah,
Hey.
like as far as classic roguelikes go, Brogue is really action packed.
Holy shit. Like, I'm not, like, dunking on it or anything. I don't have any problems with that. It just surprises me. I thought Brogue was like, you click the arrow key or whatever to move your character, and then you analyze the area, and then you move again, and then you move again. And right when I started to get like, okay, there's clearly nothing here, I'm just gonna go speeding through this hallway, I held the button down and my icon went straight across the map, and then I was dead because a bunch of things killed me.
So yeah, I'm just gonna call it Adam because that's what everyone calls it. That's the standard abbreviation. But Adam's a lot like that, except sometimes you run into an ant and it takes you like 20 turns to kill it because you keep either missing or not having any effect.
Classic.
But I mean, like I've enjoyed it. It's just an adjustment. But that's really, the stuff I bought when the eShop closed for 3DS, which I haven't really dug into that much. That's about the only new thing I've been playing.
Yeah, when the Wii U one shut down, I went and bought every Metroid game that they had on the Wii U.
Do you think they do that on purpose? Like close down the shop so that they have a mass sale?
Well, they didn't put anything on sale.
Well, no, but that's the thing, is that because no one's like everyone's gonna pay the price because they're like, oh, the shop's going down, so might as well get the games while I can. Like, do you think they do that on purpose, like intentionally?
It kind of cuts them off
Makes
for
you
any
wonder.
future revenues, though.
It does, but if it's not currently making revenue, then they're gonna be like, oh, well, we'll just announce that we'll cut it off, and then we'll just make a big, massive chunk of money on our last hurrah.
I mean, they might take like FOMO into account on that, but
Yeah.
I think it's Rob's right. It's mostly like nobody is spending money on these services anymore. We might as well shut them down, and then we might get like a cool $100,000 out of shutting it down because everybody will buy the shit they never bought that they wanted.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue in today's topic. I'm just kidding.
I mean, it is. That's right. The old guard is dead. The 3DS is dead.
Rip.
Everyone says the Switch is dying. It's gonna be replaced. And there's always the rumors. Like pretty much since the Switch was announced, it's been
Well,
the
yeah,
Switch
everyone's
2
been
is coming
chomping
up soon.
at the bit for something new when the Switch is perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. So why is everyone chomping at the bit for something
Yeah, I
else?
just got a Switch. Don't kill the
Like,
Switch.
I'd understand that if it was like, if it was like no longer functional or not as functional as it could be. Like, I can understand the want for something that's a little bit more updated. But we already got the OLED, which kind of solved the like smaller screen complaint that a lot of people had. But otherwise, the design of it is exactly the same. So it's like, what do you expect from a Switch 2? Like, I know a lot of people are expecting like better hardware out of it, but
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that is one of the main questions I was going to ask. What are we expecting or wanting out of a successor to the Switch?
I don't know. Because, like, I agree with the argument of, like, yeah, it doesn't have, like, super fantastic hardware so that there's some games you can't play on the Switch. But I don't think that's the point, right? Like, if you want a portable console that can play everything, get a Steam Deck. You know, like Nintendo, like I don't know, like it just seems weird that everyone's wanting the Switch to be the, you know, be all end all for their portable gaming satiation needs, right? You know, because like not all games are going to end up on the Nintendo Switch. Like that's like, you know, exclusivity is a thing. So it's not like every single game is going to make it onto the Switch, nor should it, because like sometimes, like, you know, obviously there's performance issues and like graphical issues with having a device that can switch from handheld to desktop mode, because to my understanding, the Steam Deck does the same thing. So if we're expecting the Switch to have better hardware than the Steam Deck is, like, I don't know, I feel like those are kind of unrealistic expectations.
I would normally say they're not unrealistic expectations, because assuming it comes in like 1 or 2 years, there's more time for the technology to improve.
Yeah.
But Nintendo has never, well, I shouldn't say never. Since the Wii, Nintendo has not tried to push the envelope of hardware.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I don't mean to cut you off, but honestly, I kind of enjoy the limitations that the Switch has, because it gives developers a chance to create something that's not just graphically pleasing, if that makes sense, right? Like we're getting so many more stylized artwork from games because they don't need these high amount of graphics, because not every game's trying to achieve photorealism, right? And me personally, I really like it when there's games that have like really unique art styles or like graphic styles and stuff like that. So I mean, it can be a positive, because then it forces, well, not forces, but like some developers feel that they have a place on a console like the Switch, knowing that they don't have to move out of their comfort zone and create something that's super graphically impressive just to be able to create a game that they want to create, right?
I'm going to break the fourth wall for a split second here. Nathan, are you using earphones or your speakers?
Yeah, I'm noticing that that's happening too. I don't know what's happening. I'm using my headset. Hopefully this doesn't hold on.
Yeah, I can hear my own voice through my headset.
Okay.
Well, that's normal because you
I'll
monitor.
assume
But
this is
I can
fine.
see that when you and I are talking, that Nathan's icon lights up, like his mic is picking us up somehow.
Oh, I see.
And my fear is that his audio will have picked us up, that he's recording on his end.
Oh.
Oh, hooray!
Ooh, technical difficulties.
Is it making new audio waveforms?
Yep. We Gucci.
Is it making audio waveforms when one of us speaks?
No, now it's not.
It was before?
I know. So I'm going to keep watching it, and we're going to see if this works.
You were just talking that loud.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And it could just be like, I don't know, maybe the headphones really leak or something.
And normally they don't have this issue, so that's why I was curious as to what was going on.
What's weird is Rob and I kind of had that issue once when I was streaming Lord of the Rings to you.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if there's a weird bug in Discord.
Maybe. Yeah, because... I don't know. I don't fucking
Anyway,
know.
what were you going to say, Rob? I cut you
Yeah.
off.
That is a great question.
That's okay. We can move on.
We were talking about the Switch 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I had a point there. I can't remember if there was something I was going to say before that. But clearly, if there was, it wasn't that important. But
So
yeah, I
you
mean,
asked, so never mind.
but I assume, like, you know, the next Switch, or whatever it is, probably will be more powerful. I just don't know, like, I can't think of anything that would really do other than just, obviously, you know, increased graphical fidelity that I would actually, like, want out of a game. I mean, like, technology can pretty much do anything you could conceivably want by now.
Yeah. I feel like they might make the Switch, no pun intended, to doing a Switch 2 if they had another, like more, I guess more that they would want to change about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I get the
It's like-
feeling. What I hope they do is just the Switch again with better hardware. What I think they'll
Better
do is
Joy-Cons.
completely change it again.
Yeah, because that's kind of been their thing again
Yeah.
since the Wii. But yeah, like it's, I don't know, the whole sort of format of the Switch has been so successful. I don't know what they would do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I've noticed a pattern of like the Switch in comparison to like the 3DS kind of thing. All of the like other models of the Switch that they've released have just been kind of like very small changes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they'll probably make more, but just with like small little changes. Like I don't know, but I don't know like what an official successor to the Switch would look like.
3D Switch.
Right? Well, like, because, like, remember we got, like, the 3DS, or, like, we got, like, the 3DS XL, right? Which would be kind of equivalent to, like, the OLED model that we have for the Switch. And
Yeah.
then we had the Switch Lite, which is basically, like, an only portable Switch kind of thing, right? So, like, I see some parallels with the 3DS, because obviously the DS itself was a very successful console.
I still
So
love
it
my
makes,
DS.
makes sense for them to keep milking that cow until it eventually dropped dead.
Yeah.
I
But
have, I
Go
have
on.
heard speculation that like they might try to make the Switch somewhat moderately like forward compatible is the term I've heard used, kind of in the same way that the 3DS was after the new 3DS came out, where you know like they were still releasing games that would work on the old 3DS.
right, yeah. Yeah, like
I
I'd
just don't know how
imagine
long they
there'd
could
be-
stretch that out for. The Switch is already really showing its age compared to the games that are coming out on next gen only now.
Yeah,
I mean, like the
That's
Switch
true.
is still more than powerful enough for any sort of like indie game and what have you. And Nintendo's always managed to make really graphically impressive games on their limited hardware. So even if they stretch the Switch out for a few more years, I think they could. But assuming they don't completely change the form factor, I think the days of the Switch are numbered for what sort of third-party support it'll get beyond indies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which sucks because I just got a fucking Switch.
Well, to be fair, Nathan, consoles
I know.
usually live anywhere from 5 to 8 years, and the Switch is entering its like 7th year, and that's when you chose to get one.
Yeah, I know.
hopefully it wasn't. Hopefully you got it at a cheap price.
I mean,
I got like on the OLED, and this,
I can't shit talk you, Nathan. That is how we got pretty much all of our consoles growing up.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
means that you play the games a lot later than everybody else. Like right now, with how expensive games are, unless I'm like super eager to play it like right away, I'm like one of those people that I'm like, I'm just gonna wait until like maybe it drops in price.
Yeah.
So like for you waiting for a console, like that's not unreasonable. Like not everybody has to buy a console at launch, and it shouldn't be expected at all.
Yep.
Because like, you know, people want to experience games at their own pace. They don't have to play it the minute it launches and be like one of the first people to ever experience the game or whatever. Because like a lot of people are more cautious about their game purchases considering how much they cost, and then how much some companies, you know, prey on the fact that like either a game is overhyped or whatever, and release games that are unfinished but then charge full prices. So it's always good to like wait for games and consoles to come out for a little bit to like make sure that you're getting your money's worth out of what you're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm frugal. That shit's
I'm
expensive.
very frugal.
I am very frugal.
Sorta. Not with games though.
Yeah.
Because obviously any game that I want really bad, I would just buy it when it launches, and that's usually all the games that I play. So Because I very rarely go back and play old games unless I already have them, which means I don't spend money.
Yeah, I would kind of like to see them, if not come up with like a complete Switch replacement, at least, another sort of enhanced version of the Switch. I mean, obviously, it's not as much of a topic as it was, because I think people have pretty much accepted Nintendo isn't going to do anything about it. But I would love to see a model of the Switch that actually addressed Joy-Con drift.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's easy enough to replace the joysticks. I just would like to not have to.
Yeah, but when you replace the joysticks that in turn also develop the Joy-Con drift, it's this vicious cycle of just keep buying new Joy-Con. Right?
Exactly.
That's what I did. Mine drifted so bad, and we tried to fix them, and it worked for a bit, but then I ended up doing it again anyway. And then I bought a brand new pair of Joy-Cons, and now they are starting to drift. And it's like, when does it end? So I would like to see them improve it and maybe perfect it to the point where the actual product itself is just not innately defective.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is my left Joy-Con started to drift within a few months of getting my Switch. And I, kind of lived with it for a bit, then finally got, just too bad to deal with.
Yeah.
So I just bought an aftermarket stick on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
That's now lasted years.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, I know, it's pretty sad that it's been a problem since the Switch's conception, and Nintendo just refuses to really do anything about it. That's kind of frustrating, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Is what it is. Well, hopefully if they make a Switch 2, they'll really fix and perfect the internals of the controllers, because that's something that would be very important to me. Graphical power aside, I want a functional controller that doesn't make me want to yeet it across the room. So
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
that would be nice, wouldn't it?
So yeah, of course, while we're talking about all this, there is a handheld on the market right now that's more technically advanced than the Switch, that, as far as I know, hasn't had to deal with joystick drift, and that's the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So, how do we think that's going to go going forward?
I think the Steam Deck has... Handheld PCs are not technically a new thing. There were, I think, I can't remember the name of the company. There's a company that makes something called the Odin. That was basically a handheld Windows PC. The Steam Deck is the first time one of them has released with a custom UI designed to be used as more like a console's UI, and it isn't just running a Windows desktop that you have to awkwardly use with a touch screen or whatever. Because it gets support and updates constantly from Valve, it's any game that's on Steam will eventually be Steam Deck verified, where you can just launch it without playing with any settings. But I think the Steam Deck, I think it's sold really well. Valve hasn't released official numbers, but they have said that it sold higher than expectations, which is partly why it was so hard for people to get their hands on it for a long time. And I think that it has sparked interest in the handheld market in a way that I wouldn't say any particular platform Nintendo might perceive as a threat, but I think the sudden interest in making handheld PCs, I think, is what might make Nintendo cautious and wary about whatever the Switch 2 is. They're going to have to make sure it can compete with something like the Steam Deck, which is going to be very difficult for just the freedom, because the Steam Deck is just a PC. I can boot it in desktop mode and install mods and do whatever and put emulators on it, and I can do whatever I want with it, but that has never existed in a handheld form in quite this way before. and even Asus. I think you're actually supposed to pronounce it Asus. I've always called them Asus, but Asus announced a handheld gaming PC a little while ago called the ROG Ally, and it's basically a Steam Deck. It's a little bit more powerful, but has less battery life because of that power. Mm-hmm. But the revolutionary thing about it is it's compatible with Asus's what the hell is that thing called? They have a special docking bay. I'm gonna have to Google it. Asus. Oh, the eGPU. So, does anybody here know what that is?
Nope. No.
So the eGPU is basically, think of it as like a Switch dock, like about that kind of size. But what it is a graphics card inside of it that has some sort of high-speed cable connection. I don't know if it's USB-C or what. I have no idea. But you can plug the Asus handheld into it, and it not only docks it, but it'll use the GPU that's inside the dock instead of the one inside the handheld. So you could dock it and put like a 4080 or something in this dock, and it'll use that graphics card instead. So when you dock it, you can get like 8K, 120 frames, whatever. But then when you're in handheld, you have the 1080p screen. So we're already starting to see companies take basically the Switch's idea and translating it into a PC without restrictions.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main factor as to why I think Nintendo will try to reinvent the wheel again, because they really don't like competing in the same way that others are doing it, because then the crack starts to show. Like Rob mentioned that the Steam Deck has no issues with stick drift. Part of that is because the Steam Deck is physically thicker, so they were able to just put normal joysticks in it instead of the...
And the joysticks don't come off of it too, right?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah, the entire Steam Deck is completely modular. You can actually build a Steam Deck.
Oh.
And I'm expecting what Valve will do down the line, instead of making... Eventually, they'd probably have to, but instead of making a Steam Deck 2, I think they'll just partner with AMD and make a new graphics card that fits in the Steam Deck, and people can just buy it and put it in.
Yeah, I could see that.
My question is, like, how did Valve make this thing without, like, copyright infringement? Because, like, if it pretty much does the same thing as the Switch, how did they make this? Like, I don't understand.
Nintendo doesn't own any form of patent on the concept of a handheld that you can plug into a...
Yeah, but didn't they, like, patent the idea of, like, having the controllers come out from the screen? I'm pretty sure they patented that.
But you can't do that on a Steam Deck.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But you said the controllers come out.
The joysticks can come out.
Oh, I thought you said that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the controllers coming out.
No.
Oh, okay.
But even then, like, I don't know if
I know
it's
that
like
that was
really
patent, so
kind
I
of
was like,
hard
how
to
did they
do
get away
that.
with making something like that?
Because even then, I don't think they actually have a patent on that topic.
I'm pretty sure they do,
because
actually.
You can buy, like, Joy-Con style controllers that plug into your smartphone.
That's just the controller. That's not the whole console. So I think it's different. I think they've patented the idea of attaching the controller to the screen to make it into a full console. I'm pretty sure they've patented that. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So I remember seeing all of the patent stuff when the Switch was still called the NX and it wasn't out. I remember seeing, like, things that that Nintendo was patenting, and then so that was drumming up speculation on what this new NX console was going to look like. And I'm pretty sure that was one of the patents that they did, was the fact that the controller comes away from the console and can go back into it. And I'm pretty sure that that's an official patent that they did.
Yeah, so as someone who does have to do copy shit, it would probably be a little hard. Like, you can copyright a specific way of you managing, like, a specific technology or a specific like way that you built a object to basically do the thing that you're looking to make it do. But you can't really like copyright a broad stroke of like, oh, detachable controllers, this is now under our copyright.
Right.
You can't do that. That's why car companies still have to compete, even though cars are basically the same damn thing. As like, this is someone who doesn't like cars, but like they accomplished the same thing. You're going from A to B. It's just the different styles and the different shit that you're putting in there to get it there. I feel like someone's fuming in the background right now, but whatever. So that's kind of like you can still have detachable controllers.
Yeah,
that would still be the thing. It's just
so
their
weird
specific tech behind it, how they hook it up, how the controllers like look and function, and the technology that's in it. That's what you patent.
Yeah, it just seems so weird to me that they were able to make something that is like very, very, very close to the original concept, and then there's that was okay, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems so weird. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Valve or anything, because I like the idea of the Steam Deck. I do. It's just, it seems so bizarre, especially Nintendo, who has like a history of like really cracking down on people for like copyright and all that kind of shit. It seems very just odd that Valve is able to make something that's so almost identical to what the Switch just physically looks like. And how it like operates is just very strange.
Knowing Nintendo, they probably did try it, and then probably Steam was, or like Valve was probably like, no, like, this ain't gonna go nowhere. Don't even bother.
Yeah.
Because I mean, companies sue other, but none of it rarely gets anywhere. The cases, or it turns into like 20 years of fucking legal battles and litigation by the time all that's done.
It's kind of like how emulators are not illegal, even though they're playing like Super Nintendo games or whatever, because the actual emulator is not using any copyrighted like OS or BIOS files that Nintendo owns. Mm-hmm. It's like technically by that definition, Microsoft could make and release a PlayStation 2, and Sony can't do anything about it.
God, they should.
Yeah.
They should brand it
the
Activision PlayStation.
Well, they wouldn't be able to call it a PlayStation. They'd have to like the Activision Game Station.
Oh God.
Activision Game.
Yeah, the Steam Deck, I think, is sparking interest in handheld gaming in a way that, granted, I think the Switch is what started the fire, but I think the Steam Deck and other devices that are starting to pop up like it are what's going to change...
just change the landscape of it.
Change the landscape. I really wanted Jordan to be here for this because I wanted to ask him... Nathan's a lot more of a PC gamer than I am, so maybe you have an opinion on it too. But I wanted to ask if the Steam Deck and things like this Asus handheld, they continue to excel and impress. Jordan's used my Steam Deck and he was shocked by how well it ran, and how versatile it is. In a world where these keep continuing down this path, do you think gaming laptops are going to go extinct? Do you think it's just going to be your typical like home PC and then everybody has a Steam Deck like device instead of a laptop? I mean, there's always going to be the niche market that absolutely demands the convenience of a keyboard and mouse setup without having a bunch of adapters and blah blah blah, but I'm wondering, could this help not only take the PC market in a more casual way where more people will enter the PC market, and does that translate to gaming laptops having less of a presence?
Yeah, so it's definitely going to damage the gaming laptop scene. So like, there is a beautiful thing when it comes to desktops, that's nice, but as I've mentioned to all of you, hey, I'm going away to Quebec for 3 months, I'm not fucking dragging my computer there. So this would be an excellent point part where a gaming laptop or a
Or a portable gaming
device would
PC,
be amazing.
essentially,
That's one reason why I do have a Switch. That's because I was like, in case I go away, Switch would be nice. I wish I could get a Steam Deck, but money.
they're not cheap.
Yep. So that's like my main point as to why I am not getting one. But they are a lot cheaper than a gaming laptop.
Yes.
Because gaming laptops, in order to make, or like basically to put in all that power and everything and have it portable, those things are not cheap. They're pretty damn bulky. And from experience of having 2 gaming laptops previously, you're only going to get like 3, maybe 4 years out of it before like they're just dead in the water because they're a much bigger pain in the ass to clean. Tech-wise, they're a lot more of a pain in the ass to replace parts because the way that they have to deal with layout and cramming all this technology into a laptop usually means that getting the specific parts for it is a bigger struggle than you would assume it was. So I honestly do think that it's going to really damage the gaming laptop scene. There will, of course, be those who like it. I'm not one of those people. I like keeping my work and my leisure separate. That's why I didn't get a gaming laptop for my work. It's a very work-centric laptop. I have a few games on it if I need to kill an hour or two, like Terraria. But it's not. I'm not launching Cyberpunk on this thing. If I was to do that, my little laptop would probably self-destruct in my lap. So yeah, and it is cheaper. It's a lot more convenient. You're not carrying around this bulky laptop. They both kind of carry the mobility, and the Steam Deck is a lot more modular and a lot more you can replace the bits and basically build your own. So if they kind of manage to keep along those strides, I really do think that gaming laptops will become more of a little niche thing than people who are on the move a lot and want to take their PC games with them. We'll look at that. We'll look at the Steam Deck more than a laptop. That's my roundabout way of saying that. I wish I had one. It would definitely make this trip to Quebec. Well, I'm going to go buy some games for my Switch before that thing goes.
There you go.
Yeah. I've got to get the games before they close the Switch store.
Even if the Switch
Right.
2 came out tomorrow,
my
the
God.
Switch eShop will still be around for quite a while.
God.
You don't know that, man.
They only just now shut down the 3DS and Wii U.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
Wii
I
U
know.
makes sense because that was a dead console when it was conceived. So
Yeah. I still miss my Wii. I still need to figure out why it's not working. It's got a yellow light, and there's so many games, especially recently, because I've been
That's usually
chatting
the
with some
disk drive,
friends.
isn't it? If it's got a yellow light, I think it's the
Is
disk
it?
drive. Yeah, I think I had that issue too, and I just got a new Wii.
If it's got a yellow light, it's in standby mode.
Oh?
It's
Or is it-
just always yellow. Even when I press it,
I
it's
don't know.
still yellow.
Then maybe your power switch on the inside isn't working.
Maybe.
Also, I
So
don't-
that's why if you hold down the power button, it'll turn red because you turn it off. If
Yeah.
you just tap the power button, it turns yellow because it goes into standby mode.
I'm going to have to look at why it's not working, because especially lately I was talking with another friend and I started getting into Legend of Zelda The Twilight Princess.
Yes.
But still, because he was all
So good.
I'm not sure. I don't know if Holly was ever here from the rants, but I just could never get into Breath of the Wild.
I know,
I've
that makes
had
me
a
so
big-
sad.
And my main issue, which really ticks me off, is just the weapon breaking. If I could remove that, I'd
I
probably
don't
have
understand
fun.
what everyone's so butthurt about that. It's such an insignificant part of the gameplay experience for me that I don't understand why people are always like, oh, this game sucks just because the weapons break. It's just like...
So my problem is I'm a hoarder.
There's weapons everywhere!
And I like having my shiny weapons, and I like the variety. I'm happy that they have, like, boomerangs and all this other stuff in it. That excites me. I love that. My main issue is they break, and I really want to just have all of them, and so I just go to sticks and save all my weapons, because I'm one of those people that I don't use health potions in fucking games, because I freak out that at some point I might need them, and so by the end of the game I have 700 health potions in my bag. It's just like, yes.
Because, like, I understand getting, like, attached to weapons and stuff like that. The whole point is... Because the game is almost kind of acts almost like a survival game in a way, right? Like, it's meant to make you think on your feet, right? So that's why it developed this, like really in-depth physics engine and stuff like that, right? It wasn't designed for you to just stick with a weapon. Like, that's what the Master Sword is for, right? Like, the Master Sword's there. It doesn't officially break. It runs out of energy, so it still gives you that need to experiment with your weapons. And I think the sequel, Tears of the Kingdom, even emphasizes that more with this, like, new fuse ability. It's kind of taking that concept and, like, enhancing it by making you get experimental with your environment. You have the environment as an ally in a way, so you can use the stuff that's around you to help you in combat or whatever you need it for. Because, like, there's so many scenarios in the environment in Breath of the Wild where you could just use rocks and shit to kill things. Like, you didn't need a weapon to be able to inflict damage upon something, right? And to me, that's what I love so much about the game. It just almost saddens me to think that that's the thing people hate about it, is that the fact that the game... I understand it's difficult when a game forces you to do something you necessarily don't want. I can understand this disdain for that. And then I can understand people saying, well, why didn't they just make some sort of crafting system so that if you really were opposed to this, you could just craft that favorite weapon that you broke? Which I do agree with. I do agree that there should have been, like, some sort of recrafting element, because they kind of did it half-assed. They did it with, like, the Champion's weapons and then with, like, the Guardian weapons, but they didn't do that with anything else. So I think that they should have just, like, doubled down and did it for everything. But I still like the way that the game is designed. But, like, I don't know, it just makes me so sad when people think negatively of Breath of the Wild just for that aspect. It's such a small aspect of what the gameplay is.
And once you get the Master Sword, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird because, like, it is a good game. Visually, everything about it I like. I wish they had more dungeons. That's my other little gripe with it. But I think they're bringing dungeons back.
I think so. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that they are.
Because I miss, like, the dungeons in, like, Twilight Princess and all that were so beautiful and just so well done.
Asked me 10 years ago, and I would have said, no more dungeons. I hate them, but...
Yeah, but I miss them.
That's because, like, I was not good at games. And...
Even the water dungeon in Twilight Princess, I enjoyed. Like, that final boss fight in that big...
I like the boss fight.
Yeah, like, the boss... Okay, like, there were definitely some irritating points in that one, but, like, the boss fight was cool. And, like, when you beat it and, like, the entire area empties out and it's just, like, this cool, like, little sandy, like, watery pit at the bottom, it's like, oh, fine.
Also, I don't mean to interrupt, but Tom, my footage has been frozen for, like, 20 minutes. So I don't know what that's about. I just noticed it, and it hasn't moved.
Is your recording timer still going?
It's still going. The footage is just frozen.
It might just be, like, processing, or, like,
it's been like that for 20 minutes.
Maybe click
I've been keeping an eye on it, but we've been talking, so I was like, oh, I'll bring it up later.
Your camera probably crashed.
Oh. Let's see.
Ripperino.
It still says it's fine. Like, my camera, or like my, like, my phone is still doing its thing. It's just the computer that's registering that it's not working.
I can't fix it from here anyway, so.
Okay. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Don't worry, I'm sure we'll fade out
So
to a
Rob,
fun picture
what's
for
your
you.
opinion on the Steam Deck?
Oh, I didn't even finish my bit on. That's okay.
See, I mean, it's. I do think it's gonna be like the way that things go, at least for a while. And especially with how much it succeeded, I think we're going to have a lot of companies coming in doing like kind of the same thing, and probably at a pretty wide array of price points. Like, I can absolutely see, I don't know, like Acer or whoever coming in with a cheaper, less powerful version. I can also see people, trying to come up with something more powerful, selling it at more of a premium price point. So yeah, I mean, I think that's, I do genuinely think that's kind of going to be the way forward for a lot of companies.
Yeah.
So then, the other big rumor that's popped up in the handheld space is what Sony might be doing, which seems very... I don't know if it seems weird to me, because, like, if you take it as them trying to get into the same market as, like, the Steam Deck and the Switch, it's a very weird way of doing it.
Yeah.
But it is also, it might also just be kind of their own thing. In which case, I just don't think it's all that appealing.
There was a rumor and a leak that Sony's working on something codenamed the Q Lite. And it sounds like it's basically a Wii U tablet. It doesn't actually play games on its own.
Right, you
it
mentioned
just
that.
streams from the PS5.
Right, yeah, you mentioned that. Which, I don't know, that kind of makes sense if you're not going to use it outside of your home. Because, like, what would be the range on something like that, you think?
Well, if it's using Sony's Remote Play, you can do Remote Play over the internet.
Oh, okay.
So, theoretically, someone on a business trip or something to Europe could play their PS5 in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's
not its
Sony's
own
Remote Play
console, it's like an
service
attachment.
has 1,001 problems, and people talk about how it's terrible all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even if, like, the core concept worked, I would not trust, like, public Wi-Fi to stream, God of War Ragnarok to me. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna go well.
Yeah, we all know how Google Stadia happened, so.
Yeah. Man.
Which is why we no
I
longer
mean,
have Google
Sony
Stadia.
had a good handheld for a while. The PSP, I thought, was great.
Yeah,
I always wanted one, and I never got one.
I know, it had such great games on it. Like, all my friends who had them, I loved playing on it, and then they just never really fucking supported it that well.
Yeah, I mean, even the Vita, like, I don't think it was as successful as the PSP, but it had, its kind of core fan base.
Yeah. Yeah, they were good.
They did make, like, some exclusive games for those, I think.
Yeah, I remember there was a Star Wars Battlefront game. I can't remember if it was on the Vita or the PES.
It was the PSP.
Is it PSP? Yeah, but that was actually, like, a fucking fantastic game. I loved it.
I don't remember which CEO or whatever it was, but whoever was head of Sony or something a long time ago was in an interview about why do you think the Vita failed to compete with the 3DS, even though the Vita was incredibly powerful and had, like, games like Uncharted in a handheld. It was basically like a Switch before the Switch.
Yeah.
You just couldn't dock it. And they asked, well, why do you think it failed? And he just deadpan said, we don't have Pokemon.
Oh.
Wow.
I mean, I think that's pretty much true, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of fair.
Because, like,
I mean, the 3DS actually sold poorly until Ocarina of Time 3D came out.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, for most people, what really sells any platform is the software. And usually,
of course.
Yeah.
Usually the software that sells the system is a recognizable name.
Yeah.
If you're buying something for your kid, they like Pokemon, you're going to get them the thing that can play Pokemon.
Yeah. Because, yeah, like, the hardware can be the bee's knees and everything everybody wants, but if it's got fucking shit games on it, no one's gonna want to buy it. They're gonna buy the other stuff.
Yeah. I also think the target demographic is just, at the time, it was too different.
Yeah.
The people that wanted to play Uncharted didn't want to play a handicapped version of it. They wanted to play the PS3 version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's basically a big advantage that the Steam Deck has. You know, it just plays the standard Steam versions of games and these games that, you know, people know.
Yeah,
you know,
and a wide variety of games too. Like, there's a very, to my understanding, a very small number of games that you can't play on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was able to play Ark Survival on the Steam Deck.
Well,
that's
like,
saying something.
Well, you can play, like, you know, you can play Halo on it.
Yeah,
I could see, you know, if they, I don't know what the status is, but I could see Xbox, you know, putting xCloud or whatever on the Steam Deck. And then
you already can.
Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, like, people can play.
It's not on Steam, but Microsoft has an official guide on their website to how to install it on the Steam Deck.
Yeah. So then you know, you can play, and obviously you can already do like COD, but you can play like Madden or FIFA, if you know that's what you want to play.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people.
If you're one of those goddamn sports gamers.
Ew, gross.
I just want NHL hits again, Rob.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's never happening, apparently.
I still think one day there'll be an indie developer that basically makes NHL hits. I just have to be patient.
I mean, it's like more in the style of, say, the 16-bit NHL games, but there is tape-to-tape coming in May. And it's like more of an arcade thing.
Oh, that didn't fully go through.
That's okay. My mic should have picked it up.
No, it didn't pick up all of it.
I mean, not on Discord.
Fair enough.
Now that we have our new professional setup.
Professional setup where one of the camera keeps crashing and the other one already crashed.
Yeah. So professional.
And me over here not even opening up the damn program before the start of the session.
We're so good at this.
So yeah, it's, you know, one thing that I did want to talk a little bit about, not much because it's kind of niche, is you know, how do we think the indie community is going to do handhelds going forward? Like, not just, you know, with having their stuff on Steam or on the Nintendo eShop, but I mean, there's, you know, things like the Playdate, where it's, you know, essentially an indie console that only plays indie games.
There's also the Analog Pocket is compatible with a lot of indie stuff. If they just make the game compatible with it, you can just download it.
Yeah, like I could see stuff like that becoming, I mean, obviously not sort of the mass market thing. You know, people aren't going to be buying their kids like Playdates for Christmas or whatever. But I could see it becoming like sort of an enthusiast thing.
Playdates for Christmas.
That sounds a little weird. I'm gonna buy my kid a Playdate for Christmas because they're so lonely.
Little Jimmy's not a very social child, so we're going to buy him a Playdate for Christmas.
Just out of context, that sounds very bizarre.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
But yeah, I mean, I could see that becoming like almost sort of the divide you see with like cameras, where, you know, maybe the Steam Deck and its equivalents become sort of the something of an all-in-one thing where, you know, you can use it to play games, but it also has, you know, streaming services, all the kind of stuff you can do on a PC, and then, you know, stuff like the Playdate or the Analog Pocket becomes, you know, something more like an SLR camera, where all it does is play games, but, you know, that's just what it does. And it just becomes like sort of like a hobbyist thing to have more than anything.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really know if I don't know, those don't really have a lot of the mass market appeal that something like the Steam Deck can have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There will always be some indie developers that want to just do something with that crank, but in terms of where I think they'll put more of their stuff, I think it'll stick to being Steam or the
I mean, I definitely don't
Nintendo
think it's
Switch.
gonna like take any market share away from the Steam Deck.
yeah. I mean,
I was
it'd be
actually
cool if
curious
they managed to, you know, take off and all that, but I'm not exactly holding hopes for it.
I was actually curious about the Playdate when they announced it, but I don't know if I would actually use it beyond just like a fun afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, like it's the kind of
A
thing
cool
that
idea
I'd love
doesn't
to
always
see.
mean a practical idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it like, you know, maybe not just like a play date, but something similar, like actually set up in a venue somewhere, like an arcade, basically.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, have like sort of a specific machine with these specific constraints that people
Yeah.
can design games for. But that's, you know, kind of a different topic.
That'd be cool, though.
So do we have any further thoughts on the future of handheld gaming? Or have we pretty much solved everyone's problems?
Solved everyone's problem. Well, I mean, something that, like, I guess we didn't really, it's not really that important, but we didn't mention it, is like, and the Switch and the Steam Deck have this issue as well. It's how much power they have when you're playing games on them. Like, you can only play them handheld for so long without being plugged into a power source. Right? Like, I think that's something that definitely needs to be addressed moving forward with, like, handheld gaming, because, like, the whole point is to have it portable and handheld. But if you have to be tethered to a power source, that completely defeats the purpose. Like, when I mentioned before, when I was using Tom's Steam Deck, I only ever used it playing Ark, because that was the only thing I was playing on it. And I would only get maximum 2 hours, not even. I would say, like, around like 45 to an hour of playtime before I would have to plug it in. And same thing when I'm even just playing Zelda on my Switch, like 2 hours, and I have to plug that puppy in, right? And that's all fine and good if you're like, for example, if you're just bringing on your Switch for like a short bus ride or whatever, I guess. But for me, the importance of a portable console is that it can be functionally portable, right? Like, if you can't use a portable console for more than 2 hours or so without having to plug it in, like, I think that that's something that definitely has to be addressed moving forward, because otherwise, what's the point, right? Because then otherwise you just plug it into your dock, keep it in your dock the whole time, which would just make it a funny looking console, which also defeats the purpose. So I definitely think that like hardware wise or spec wise or whatever that any of these companies do moving forward is they have to improve the battery life on these systems to be able to run these games.
Yeah.
Because like for me, that's a big deal breaker. Because otherwise, I'll buy a regular console that's just going to be plugged into the wall 24/7, right? Like, it's nice that I can move up from one couch to the couch that's upstairs. That's all nice and good, but like, is that worth the extra money to pay for like a high value console like the Steam Deck, as an example? Like, that's a like $900 console for me to play it for 45 minutes just to have to plug it in, like my $700 PS5, right? Like, it doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about like battery technology to know either what they could do now or how close we are to getting batteries like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that being, you know, one of the things that the industry really concentrates on.
Yeah. I don't know either, but hopefully, because battery life is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, and that comes with all devices. Like, even our phones sometimes struggle with battery life, and because depends. Like, the more you exert, the system or whatever, the more power it's trying to use, and so the more it's going to be pulling from the battery. But I think that that's something that they need to look into when dealing with these consoles, because we didn't touch on mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is, in my opinion, kind of shit anyway. It's like shovelware. But even playing mobile games on your phone, it drains your battery. So I don't know if it's something that can be overcome, but like you guys mentioned, I don't even know about technology of batteries and stuff like that and what can be done in these scenarios, but I definitely needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. Even in just maybe creating an external battery that once your internal battery is depleted, you plug in the external battery for maybe a couple more hours of gameplay and then plug it into something else or something like that.
Just put a solar panel on the top.
There you go. Play outside, touch grass.
Little wind turbine.
Block tie, you heathens.
But yeah, that would be my final take on the subject, I suppose.
Get a little wind turbine on it so it just spins.
You can just sit there blowing
it's like a
it
little
with your
pinwheel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Charge, damn you, charge!
Alright, well those are our 100% true infallible predictions.
Yeah, fact checked.
Definitely find us and yell at us if they don't come true, because
Yep.
it is because we intentionally misled you.
Oh,
Well, we were right about E3 being a bummer, so we're dying. So
Everybody
this
did.
obviously we're ahead of the
All of
curve
our
here. We know
podcasts
what
are
we're
such
talking about.
downers lately. Oh my goodness. We need some positivity in here. Come on.
I mean, was E3 dying really a sad thing, or is it more like
was.
having
It's the
to
end of an
eventually put
era.
old DLR out back and just shoot them because they're just
my God.
old and dying and drooling and
Well, I think
dead.
whenever you reach the end of an era, there's always a bit of sadness
Yeah.
to it,
there is.
You're also
unless
asking,
it was really shitty, but
you're also
nothing was
asking,
wrong with E3.
is this a genuinely sad thing, or is it comparable to one of the most universally recognized saddest scenes in film history?
I know.
What?
Is this sad, or is it more like putting down an old dog? A notoriously non-sad thing to do.
Yeah, that's probably
I'm more
the
thinking,
saddest thing to do.
I'm more thinking when we had to put down Snickers, because by the time he was going he couldn't move. He was basically rotting from the inside out. He smelled horrid.
Oh my God.
His mouth, his gums had swollen so much he couldn't open his mouth or even eat. There was a
So
point
you're
that it was just
comparing the death of E3 to putting your dog out of its misery?
Yeah,
Is that
you're
what you're
just
trying to
saying
get
There was
at?
a point where we're all just we already kind of mourned him for a while beforehand because we
Oh my
thought this
God.
dog was going to die so many times and he kept going. So it's at the point that it was finally time to put him down, we're all just that was expected.
That's
There's a bit of
depressing.
sadness. There's still a bit of sadness, but also it was we have come to peaceful terms with the fact that this is going to happen.
And that's
We're not
E3 for you. Right?
psychopaths.
Oh my
Our
God.
mourning was just stretched out over the course of 5 years.
Oh my God. Oh, dear.
Because that dog should have been dead after he ate an entire bottle of Advil.
Oh my God.
Alright, everybody.
Oh God.
So, Nathan's dog OD'd and then it slowly died over the course of 5 years.
No, he
Have
should
fun
have
playing
OD'd
games.
5 years
Yeah, it
ago.
just took a while for each bit of Advil to work its way through your system.
Yeah, everybody have
I'm
fun.
sorry, Snickers.
No, it's fine. I miss Snickers so much. He was such a good dog. But Jesus Christ, how did that dog survive? He really put in work to just live for another 5 years.
Oh Christ.
Snickers, rest in peace. You'll forever be my little buddy. I miss putting you in my little hoodie pocket, and then you just be a happy little loaf as I just walk around with you. I got a new little hoodie, or a little at home hoodie, and it has a really big cozy pocket. I'm like, Snickers would have loved going in this. But whatever, it happens. Miss you, buddy.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's our gaming podcast.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of our thoughts on the topic. Feel
Yeah,
free
dead
to leave your
dogs.
thoughts in the comment. And like I said, tell us we're idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us how your dog died.
Yeah, give us your dog died stories.
Oh my god.
This is gonna be the one that really breaks out, and goes
I'm
viral.
crying. I'm like literally crying.
I am too, both because of laughing and also because I miss Snickers.
Then why'd you bring it up?
Because I am a human being who thought
my
about
lord.
his dog and then was
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
oh, but I
And
also
then
miss
just
him.
word vomited.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's too funny. Well, bye everybody. Oh my god.
Later all.
All right, good episode.
Yeah.